Hello, and we're live again with another Learn and Grow Snappy Chat. I'm Christine Bell, and I have the wonderful guest April with me today. And we're going to be talking about your challenges in business and how we overcome them and how we create businesses that align with ourselves and will help us grow as well. So this is what it's all about. We're all, trying to build businesses, and it can get a little bit lonely sometimes. And the thing is, we all face many of the similar challenges, even if we're in different category, different market, different approach to business. We face many of the same challenges, and this is why I started these chats, because we can all learn and grow with each other. So with this in mind, April, you're amazing. I met you through the Hounds of Business community, which is an amazing community in the US mainly that I love. And I don't know if Mike will make it, given that he's not feeling so well. We'll hope so, but we'll see. Royce is here, though. Hello, Royce. Royce is also a member of the Hounds. Is also a member of the Hounds of Business community. So it's great to see you too, Royce. You are so loyal and so fantastic at supporting. So I really appreciate you. So April, you are all about living with intention, but you're all about health and being holistic in your approach as well, in how you face life and business, I think, too. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, please.
Thank you, Christine, for having me here. I'm just so excited when you invited me, as we've been, chatting here and there with the Hounds of Business, and I've had the pleasure of viewing you and your other guests on this Snappy Chat. A little bit about me. Oh, well, I left the 9-to-5 working with a nonprofit supporting at-risk youth. And youth is for the Department of Labor in the U.S. from the age of 16 up to the age of 25. So honing in on their work readiness skills, getting them prepared to enter the workforce. But they had a lot of adversity that they had overcome. And that's trauma. That's trauma. And so as I was working in that area, supporting them, I was also doing my, hobby as a Reiki master and a sound healer. And then biodynamic breath came later. And I realized, well, although I loved working with these youth and being able to, expand with them and see their growth, I was ready to work with people who are ready to show up and wanted to heal, because they were in that survival mode, right? And that happens a lot, doesn't it? When we don't feel safe or supported, especially how we were raised, or even in the work environment, even driving your car, we just have that alert system in our bodies. And when we can find ways to relax it, and that's that holistic approach, right? So mind, body, spirit. Then we can really step in more into ourselves. So I decided to leave that job and open my own business, Living with Intention. And during that time, we became empty nesters. So our son, moved out, got a job. Wonderful, very excited for him. And then we kind of looked at ourselves, my husband and I, was like, okay, now's the time to become full-time RVers. We've been always wanting to do that. So the background, if I, remove the background that you're seeing here, you would see my bedroom, in other interviews, you can see that. But we're full-time RVers, and so I can work anywhere remotely. Although that was my challenge to overcome with business. I wasn't in one specific location in Des Moines, Iowa any longer. I was in Texas. I was in Florida, New Mexico, Arizona. And this is before I connected to the Hounds of Business. And I felt really lost. I felt kind of, siloed. Like, how am I going to reach people? How am I going to connect with communities and offer services? So lo and behold, I got into LinkedIn because I discovered people are a little bit more focused there, right? Business wise. And so I stretched my legs. I got out of my comfort zone. And that's when I was introduced to Dr. New, to Russ Hedge, to so many amazing individuals, including yourself and Dr. Constance Leland, and
Who is here now?
Oh, she's here! Yay! And Royce, and all these amazing, beautiful, soul-hearted people that are wanting to, be inspired and connect with other like-minded professionals. And so when I discovered Mike Aschenbrenner and the Hounds of Business, then I was like, I found my community, and I can take them anywhere and see people as I go. So actually, I'm going to be seeing Dr. Constance next Saturday.
Wow.
The retreat I'm holding, which is the background here, the Cactus Blossom Retreat Center in Escondido, California. So I'm very excited for that Purposeful Driven Women retreat. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I love that you can drive around and meet everyone in person. I just want to say before we go, we got Adrian here, we got Michael, we got Royce, of course, Yolanda, Charles, Dr. CJ is here. Wonderful. Thank you so much here. So we got a whole team here. So thank you so much. And you said so many things that I'm like, got to talk about this. We've got to talk about this. We've got to talk about this. Yeah. So here are the key 4 words I heard, and then we'll see how it goes. I heard survival, because I don't think that's just youth. And I also see it somewhat in my university students. I think it's a business too. I think a lot of us are coming into business, and there's often a survival energy behind it, depending on where we came from, or whether we left a job or got maybe redundant or fired or whatever. That actually often, in a good way, makes us start something that we're more passionate about. But there's possibly still a survival energy that needs to be changed when we build a business, because surviving a business is no way to live. Yeah. And I understand when you build a business, it's going to take some time and stuff, but I can honestly connect with that as well. And you talked about, working remotely. Yeah, we all got sort of surprised by the last 4 or 5 years, but it's also changed us for the better in terms of how we work and how we can think out of the box, I think. And also getting out of our comfort zone. I think those 3 are big challenges that we all face in business. What do you think?
Oh, most definitely, Christine. And I think a lot of people think that once they get that job, right, they're in the survival mode to either pivot careers or get the job, that everything's going to, go seamless. And then they get into that work environment, and there might be a little bit of challenges. And that also puts us on alert, on survival mode. So when we can apply different tools and resources, this is where I come in with a holistic approach to business. Learning just to step back, be a little bit more mindful before having that interaction with a coworker, with a client, with a customer, with your boss. Tune in and see what's happening, how you're feeling activated, I call it. I don't use the word trigger anymore. I say activated, because that's what's happening with the nervous system. And when we become curious and tune in and just easy, take a breath, just witness for what it is, accept those emotions and feelings, then we can have a more engaging, responsive conversation.
And to Charles' point, we can thrive. And I totally agree with that. We actually need to, and this is, I will say, I left a job. I just couldn't, I was burned out, didn't realize it 19 years ago, didn't realize what burnout was. And of course, it became clear that something was going on. So I kind of went on a look for coaching, I guess, to some extent. And I didn't know, on a personal development journey that I had not looked for. Didn't even know really what it was. And then with that came the whole thing of actually stepping back and learning to breathe and learning to be a lot more clear on my energy. Because we can, if we're not aware of our energy, we will bring it forth. Even if we think, oh, we're doing well, I'm passionate about what I do. But if we're not aware of the energy, or that we haven't necessarily healed, or we're still working through stuff, they're still sitting in the background and we don't work on it or heal it, then I think unconsciously we can still have that energy coming through. And I think what I'm hearing from you and what I know about you is all about not just breathing, but actually becoming really aware of our energy. Is that right?
Yes. For sure. And just as you said so perfectly, it's that we're the ripple effect. If we're not focused, if we think we're just jumping through the hoops to get things done. It looks good on paper, but how are we showing up for ourselves?
Yes.
How are we feeling, and just really being brutally honest with ourselves some days. Some days we're a little lower, and some days we feel like, woo, I'm on a mountaintop, and that's okay. So that way we're more aware of how we're showing up. And when we have those interactions, we're just a little bit more in tune with how we're feeling and resonating, because people will pick that up.
That's exactly right. Whatever we're feeling, we might think we're disguising it, but energetically we're not. As human beings, we are, even whether we know it or not, we are picking up each other's energy, even online. Yeah, we can pick up each other's energy, and we can feel it. And it's it's not spoken about. It's unconscious often, unless we become aware, which is where you come in terms of helping people. And this is where it's really important. If you're not there for yourself, you cannot give to others what you don't give to yourself, I don't think.
Yes. Yeah, that's pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And what happens? Our cups become bone dry and cracked. And this is where, like you said, the burnout happens. This is where, we have the brain fog or anxiety, or we just can't get out of bed. And then we wonder what's wrong.
Or we sit and stare at the computer and just go, I should be doing this, but it's not really happening. I can't get into it. Yeah, Michael said professional burnout can creep up unexpectedly. Yeah, I think for me, it was sitting in the background for many years. I just didn't even know what it was. So I just kept pushing. I was just keep going, keep rolling. Yeah, keep going until one day I just went, I can't do it. And I had no clue what was going on. And Charles said he likes the word activated better.
That's great. Yeah, and it's just all about us. And going off of what Michael just said, right? It creeps up. So every day, what are we doing to show up for ourselves? It's a drop in the bucket. So before you even get out of bed, how do I want to feel at the end of the day? Even asking yourself that. Because nobody, I guess, and I want to see people in the chat, right? Does anybody say, oh, I want to feel burnout and overwhelmed and stressed out beyond belief? No, right?
Not when we're in business or life. That's generally not how we want to feel. Yeah.
Yeah, we want to feel joyful. We want to feel expansive, all those feelings. So when we put that into the forefront of our minds, how do I want to feel? And then throughout the day, we'll be able to notice that a little bit more. That's emotional intelligence in action. Yeah. That's being aware of, oh, I said I wanted to feel this way, but I'm feeling that way. So how can I shift the script a little bit, or just step back, take a break, go for a walk, take cold water. This is a trick right here for everyone. If you can't get away, go to the bathroom or wherever you can find a fountain, and run the cold water over your wrists. And then put one palm on your forehead. It's still a little wet, and cold, and one on the back of your neck. And that helps to reset the nervous system.
Oh, that's a good tip. I'm going to use that. That's great. What an easy one that we can most of us do, unless we are literally away from a bathroom, or away, no close to water.
Yeah, or just, even what is the temperature of my hands right now? Where can I feel my feet? It's getting back into the body, because we're so outside of our bodies. We're up here in our heads and mind, and all the things are swirling around. We really need to bring it back to ourselves, because our bodies are our most precious resource.
Yeah. So ground ourselves more into our body, feel what we're feeling on the inside, what's actually going on, and just checking in. And how often do you check in with yourself? Because sometimes I get really busy, but is it more sort of like when you're starting out that you practice every hour to make sure, okay, every hour, so we start becoming more and more aware?
Well, that's the thing. You don't want to make it another task or a chore to do, because then that creates more anxiety over, oh my God, if I didn't check
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it, right? When we start beating ourselves up. So it's basically whenever we're feeling that activation, that's the time to step back.
Okay.
Or when you did kind of blow up at somebody and you're like, oops, I guess I need to step back a little
Time
bit.
out.
Yeah, put yourself in timeout.
Oh, wonderful. And how has this helped you in your business and building your business? Because you come with all this awareness and it's obviously your passion. And so how have you implemented it, I guess, in your own business?
That's a really good question. Really applying it to myself first and foremost, as we said, we're the ripple effect. And then talking with other different managers, HR people, even people in the job. The word just escaped me.
I know that feeling.
In the workforce, right? Even touching one person's life at a time. That's the ripple effect too. And I had a client just recently. Well, it was before Christmas, but time flies, right? She reached out to me, and she was usually a virtual Reiki client. She wanted to just de-stress and relax, and I offer that virtually. And then she reached out to me for the biodynamic breath work because she said that she felt that she was just ticking off the boxes in life. She wasn't feeling joyful any longer. She would get done at the end of the work week, and it took everything she had, right, to go out and see her friends and things like that. So it's really, again, about bringing it back to ourselves. And so with the biodynamic breath work, working with individuals and offering in retreats, then people understand more about the mind-body connection. They understand more about the resources that we have within and around us that we can just tune in quickly. And that helps, again, to balance the nervous system. So that way we can be more clear and feel a little bit more joyful. I'm not saying that people are going to see rainbows and unicorns right away, right? It's just melting those outer layers of tension. And when we're in that space, then it's like, oh, here I am. I feel a little bit more calm. I have a little bit more clarity and peace within myself.
So it's kind of moving away from working on adrenaline, which is survival, where we're just going on adrenaline. That can get us so far in terms of getting things done. But I guess what I'm hearing is like, with our nervous system, that's where the burnout comes in. So it's really being able to change that one step at a time. And I guess from a small business owner, a lot of us, will be in survival to some extent at the beginning, especially when you're still building. And there's this discomfort in being out of your comfort zone that we have to do in business because, usually, unless we have a big team that we can afford, we're going to have to learn a lot of new things that are uncomfortable, right?
Yes. And that uncomfortable is perfect because that's growth. And I like to say, and this is kind of fun to think about, we're all hermit crabs. So a hermit crab hatches from an egg. It doesn't have a shell. It has to forage around on the bottom of the ocean or the water source, wherever it's at, and find a little shell, and it hooks its tail into the shell, right? Well, that shell, it outgrows it. So we outgrow things. And when we try and keep ourselves in that shell, it becomes very uncomfortable. Yeah. But then we have to risk being vulnerable and exposed to find a new shell. And so that's what we're doing through life. So if people can just appreciate that change and growth is going to happen as a continuum, and be curious about, oh, I guess I'm outgrowing the shell, right? Make it more playful, fun, engaging. That way it's not so much pressure, or we don't get into those, just the spiral, right, that our minds create about change, because otherwise it can be very scary.
Yeah, and life has changed, whether we like it or not. Change is coming our way. So I love your approach to it, because it's like, well, it's going to happen. So why not be playful with it? Why not be curious about it? Why not see it as a growth opportunity? And, discomfort is only uncomfortable for a little while, then we learn new things, and then we go, wow, I can do this. Yeah. So public speaking, many people don't like public speaking, but if you are your own brand and you have to put yourself out there, you're going to have to do some kind of putting yourself out there on LinkedIn or somewhere else. It's uncomfortable, but guess what? After 5-10 videos, it starts becoming a little bit more okay. Like when I started the Snappy Chat, was I comfortable with it? No. Did I do it anyway? Yes. Did I learn and grow with it? I still am. Yeah. Never ending.
Yes.
And Michael,
go ahead.
Michael just said, I was going to say, working remotely with team members across multiple time zones can add extra pressure, requiring strong personal life management skills too. Very true.
Mm-hmm. Very true. I actually wanted to comment on Royce Blake. He did a post recently about developing the voice, right? And listening to our voice and watching ourselves on video, as you said, Christine. It is very uncomfortable. I did not enjoy listening to my voice or watching myself. Although,
and look at us now.
After 50, it was like I'm just showing up and I'm sharing it. This is valuable information. I got to get over myself. People, yes. we are our worst critics, really.
Exactly. And I will say that exactly, because the first time, I mean, I was on LinkedIn for many years, but only when I was like finally going, okay, I actually need to become my brand on LinkedIn. I can't just sit in the background if I want to build a business, right? A new business that was focusing on small business owners rather than big corporates, which was relationship based. And I put my first video out and I was so nervous. And you know what I did in the heading? This is back when the algorithm was better, yeah? I put out hello. Put my video on, and you could see that I was reading like this, yeah, right here. I was literally like reading, and I edited 700 times and nervous and whatever, yeah. And I just said, hello, this is my first video. I'm a little bit nervous, but here we go. Guess what? Algorithm was better back then, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I had 23,000 views overnight, and every single person that commented, there's a lot of comments, and they were all very much supportive. From complete strangers going, you know, great job, well done for putting yourself out there, completely get it, but you did it, you know. And it was just one supportive comment after the others, complete strangers. And I thought, you know what? We all know exactly what it feels like, so we can all appreciate it. Empathy will come in, because most of us can appreciate exactly what it's like to put ourselves out there and being that discomfort place, yeah? But it's okay to voice it. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to share where you're at and still show up, yeah?
Yes. And in fact, people appreciate that even more because it comes across more authentic.
Yeah.
For sure. And you said a key word there, relationship, Christine. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a one and done. This is what I love to do, is co-create with wonderful souls such as yourself. And that's where, why I just really melded into the Hounds of Business, meeting with different people, co-creating, finding value, right, in that relationship, because that's the long-term investment, really. And it's seeing people and their talents and their skill sets, and just really appreciating the connection and the collaboration.
And that's exactly what I think as well about community, and why the Hounds of Business community is amazing, and why I started my own little community as well, which is strategy based. But it's all about collaboration. It's about co-creation. And it's all about coming together, because we all have different value to add to each other's business. And that doesn't mean that it's me in my community sitting there going, you should do that and X, Y. It's like everyone coming together going, hey, I've learned this. I did that. What did you get from that? You know, it's all about together we can actually go further. And I love the Hounds of Business community, and where I obviously met you as well, for the same reasons. It's about building community. And especially if you're a small man band in a business, yeah, it gets a little bit lonely. So having others to brainstorm with, get ideas from, co-create with, build on each other, do snappy chats like this or other types of, interviews or podcasts, whatever. That's what it's all about. And that's how we can help each other grow and know that we all have value. So you also feel valuable on the inside, which is important when we feel out of our comfort zone.
Yes. And that value you talk about also, that applies to the workplace too. People want to be seen heard and valued. They want to know that their contribution is being witnessed and it's valuable to the team. And I think that's where a lot of the self-judgment comes in. They're stuck in their little hermit crab shell, right? They're afraid to peek out and put themselves out there. And, risk does equal growth. You have to be able to risk it. Otherwise, there's no growth there. And then we become uncomfortable. And that's where all the complaining and self-judgment comes in. So I say, get out of your shell. Yeah.
Exactly. And when it's uncomfortable, come back to grounding in yourself and feel your nervous system and connect with yourself and just keep going and get in touch with April so you can actually learn how to breathe and understand how the body works and health works, because we all need that, especially in business and also when we work in big jobs. Yeah. All of us need it more than ever, I think.
Yes. And just because we are the ripple effect, we're contagious. Everybody has walked into a room. I'm sure you walked home or you walked into, a business environment and nobody needs to say a word and you can tell something's off.
Yeah.
You can tell. So it all starts with us. And when we build that emotional intelligence and the resiliency in our nervous system, then we can witness others who are dysregulated and not take it upon ourselves and not think that we did something wrong or, take that on when it's not ours to begin with.
So true. And as much as fear can sell, and you can see that in the main media, they love selling fear. The truth is, you said it earlier, we all want to feel good. We all long to feel joy and good feelings. That's how we want to feel. And that's how you build loyalty as well as long-term, is to make people feel good for real. Yeah. And this is what you do. And I love that, because you're off. And if you are, I think when I'm clear on myself and I'm feeling good, I can also start telling now that if I come in with a smile, guess what? It actually helps other people go relax and just come back to feeling good again. Yeah. Even if there's a lot of stuff going on in their life, a smile can do wonders for a stranger. Yeah.
Yes. And also that it's shown that when you smile at somebody, I would say 9 times out of 10, they will smile back or they'll acknowledge you in some way, because that's that mirror neurons that we have, and we mirror that which we see. So be careful of what you're watching, who you're surrounding yourself with, because that also has a subconscious impression on us.
Now, I could talk to you forever because you're amazing. We are going to finish up. So before we finish up, how can people reach out to you? It sounded like you have something coming up next week in California. So are you flying or driving all the way to California?
I am flying. Yes, we have a sheepadoodle puppy. So my husband's going to stay here in Panama City Beach, Florida, while I fly out to Southern California. Actually, it's in Escondido, just north of San Diego, and it's from February 20th through the 23rd, and it's at the Cactus Blossom Retreat Center. That's my background here, and we're going to offer ways to melt that tension and that stress for purposeful driven women, so that way they can relax and tune into that felt sense and their intuition. Because we all have that within ourselves, the intuition to help guide us. And in that space, that's where we have more clarity and guidance, where we feel more confident in ourselves. So that's the Purposeful Driven Women Retreat. You can find that on my LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and also you can also email me at april@livingwithintention.co. I think you have that in the description as well.
I love that. And you know what? I truly believe the more we align with ourselves, the more we're going to bring in naturally the right opportunities for us in business and in our workforce or in our job that will actually align with us, because we're in line with ourselves. So the universe will start bringing that into us. So love what you do. If you can't make it to California, however, as much as I would like to make it, what else is coming up? Anything else, or should we just reach out to you on livingwithintention.co?
Yep, just reach out to me, livingwithintention.co. I also have a Japan tour that I'm doing in October, the 1st through the 10th. I lived in Japan for 10 years, and so I'm taking people who are curious about the culture, want to learn a little bit more. We're doing Tokyo and Kyoto, doing the onsens, all the good stuff there. So that's not a retreat per se. It's more of a, let's go out and explore Japan together, and let's have some fun and good food. All good food there.
Oh, wonderful. My sister-in-law is Japanese American. So yes, one day we'll have to go to Japan with them. I can't wait. Wonderful. Definitely. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. We could keep talking, but we will finish now because it's Snappy Chat, not a long version. And please reach out to April if you don't know her already. And please put everything in the comments as well in terms of your retreats and everything as well, so people can find it. And thank you, Yolanda, for being here. We appreciate you, and Charles Yolanda as well, and everyone who stayed behind.
Yes, thank you. Be well.